Hello, everybody. I am Andrea Logan, and you are watching the Prodigal Blonde Unfiltered. I am so excited for today's guest, Elizabeth Gibson. She is the current Miss Oklahoma 2025, and she is such a joy to watch on social media. And we are so excited to interview her. Stay tuned and welcome, Elizabeth Gibson. Hey, Elizabeth.
Hello.
How are you?
Doing great. I'm excited to be here. And you might have just spoken not spoken to existence because we don't say that. Hopefully predicted what'll happen in the future. I'm the current Miss Oklahoma City 2025.
Okay,
Going for
so
Miss
is Miss
Oklahoma
Oklahoma the
2025.
step? Maybe honestly, I think I just prophesied it. So
I know that's
what's
what
the
I'm
difference
saying.
of Oklahoma City versus? Tell me.
Yeah, so Miss Oklahoma, and as a part of the Miss America organization, is the state title to get to Miss America. And
Okay.
in order to get to the state, you have to win a local title. So Miss Oklahoma City is one of the longest running local titles in Oklahoma. So long, like I'm the 101st Miss Oklahoma City. My mom was Miss Oklahoma City whenever she was my age. It's has such a long history. It's really great. But in order to get to Miss Oklahoma, you have to win a local title. So this is my 6th local title now.
Oh, geez, you're a slacker.
I've
And
been doing it just a little bit.
you're the
I've been
third
doing it for a long
generation? Was it your
Yes,
grandma, your mother, and now you?
and me. And my aunt was in there too, but she didn't do it quite as long.
Okay, so take me back. Born and raised, are you still in Oklahoma City?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so you born and raised. Take me back to your childhood and how that was growing up in like the pageant world. Was that something you wanted to do because you saw your grandma and your mom do it? What was I mean, tell me how that went growing up.
Yeah. So I actually didn't grow up in the pageant world, unlike a lot of people. I contemplated doing the teen competition, which that's for ages 13 to 17 or 18, depending on where your birthday falls and where you are in school. But I ended up having hip surgery instead. So I
Oh my
came
gosh.
in technically late in the game compared to a lot of girls that do pageants right now. Um, because it was something that my mom or anyone in my family ever said, "Oh, you need to do this," or anything like that. They really just waited for me to want to do it. And then, life had hiccups. I didn't get to do it as soon as I wanted to. But it was honestly a blessing because I think it gives me a different point of view from the pageant perspective. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, but I grew up watching Miss America, with my mom every single year. That was her Super Bowl, and I even would watch Miss America wearing my mom's local title holder crown. I think it was her Miss
Stop
Oklahoma.
it.
Yeah,
Oh, I love
I
that.
I would go if it were up to my mom, it would be in a little, like, case in the back of her closet, but my dad, like, growing up was like, "No, you that was such a great point of your life. We're gonna put it in a case, and it's just gonna be on display." The rest of them, she doesn't know where they are. But, so I would go and I would get it out before she could tell me no, and then I would put it on, and watch Miss America during that. I very vividly remember it was so much fun. Typically, it's just a big event that we would have at my house. It's
No
really
way. So the goal is okay, so you're Oklahoma City 2025. You
Yes.
just was that did this just happen?
It was back in July.
So back in July, okay,
Mhm.
and then do you tour? Like, how does that work? And I am so fascinated by the pageant world because I have 2 daughters, and
Mhm.
one of them is a dancer, the other one's a cheerleader, but I can only imagine, how did you stay as normal as you are without going to extremes, like with the perfectionism or the eating disorders or the
Mhm.
pressure that girls put on each other? Like, how how is that, like, just being raised in that? And obviously you're a believer,
Mhm.
so you're strong in your faith, but tell me how that goes, because I would imagine you see a lot of destruction behind the scenes.
Yes. I would say that has a lot to do with your support system. Um,
Mhm.
I mean, people can have problems regardless of
Yep.
the people around them, no matter how much support they have. But having a great support system to begin with is the most important part, because it is really easy to fall into the traps of, comparing yourself to other people or worrying so much about winning the crown that you almost lose sight of who you are. And that is a blessing that I've always had, that I've never had anyone be like, "You need to win." I think it'd be pretty cool to win, being the first one in my family to do it, but I've never felt any pressure from my family to make sure that I'm always looking my best, or making sure I'm practicing my talent, practicing interview. They encourage me to do all the things I need to do to get it done, but it's never a sense of like, you have to do it. And I
Right.
think that's one of the biggest reasons why I'm able to enjoy it so much, is I don't feel an external pressure to win. If it happens,
Mm.
great. I'm gonna do my best, and if it doesn't happen, then that means God has something better for me. And ultimately, the Miss America organization is supposed to be a tool to better your life. Like,
Yep.
women will enter this organization for so many different reasons, whether it's scholarship, or wanting to further their career, wanting to further their cause that they are championing. Um, and I just lost my train of thought. Where was I going with that?
Oh, it leads you to I love you.
Oh,
So
thank you.
it leads you to better it's an organization
Oh,
to
yes.
better people and to
Yeah.
better others. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you keep that in mind, like the whole reason why you join this organization, then that really helps keep you on the right track. And
Mhm.
if you see yourself starting to have any negative tendencies, if you go, "Oh, well, I'm entering this because I wanted to practice being a better performer," then it takes that pressure off of, if you remember your reason why you're there. Yeah.
Gotcha. And so technically, how old were you when you started doing pageants, and do you okay, this is such a funny question. Are there classes, like cotillion classes, like, are there classes to practice speaking and to do because obviously there's acting classes like I took back in the day.
Yes.
So, like, how does that work?
So it really depends on what system you're in. There are a lot
Mhm.
of places that will offer group classes. I've never been to any of those because in the Miss America system, typically you just find individual coaches. So I'll have an interview coach. I have a coach to help me learn how to walk. Best for stage, which sounds really crazy, thinking you don't know how to walk, but it's a lot harder to make it look effortless than just walking down the street. Um, I
Right.
have a vocal coach, and then a talent coach that helps put all of the aspects of talent together. I'm an opera singer, so
Oh my
yeah,
gosh. Oh my gosh, that's
yeah,
amazing.
thank you. And then I think I already said interview coach, but then like along with that, because interview is one of the most important aspects of the Miss America organization. Um, that I have a board of people that are behind me, helping me get ready for all of the phases of competition, and it's so exciting. So another aspect of that too is along with my board, is I have a community service initiative. It's about the social media safety and teaching parents, teachers, and students on how to stay safe online. And
I
so
love that.
I know it is so important right now, and especially like in today's day and age where there's so much like wild, wild west going on in social media,
Yeah.
it's important now more than ever. And so with my board, I'm going to be going into schools across Oklahoma, in Oklahoma City, and teaching social media safety to kids.
Okay, that's amazing. I mean, that's
Thank you.
because I feel like I see it firsthand my oldest is 18 and obviously he's a boy, but I can just see I grew up with no social media, not even a cell phone. So raising kids in this generation is like a whole different ball game, including how their self-esteem is shaped, like
Mhm.
even with
Yes.
filters on phones
Mhm.
and Snapchat and Instagram, like it's overwhelmingly the performance and the perfection. And so yeah, that's amazing.
Thank you.
Are you now okay, so you have a whole team that helps
Yes.
shape Elizabeth, like,
Yes.
once you're on stage. How does that did you go to school? Like, were you able to be a normal kid, or did you always have a little bit of a different, like, childhood because you started learning, like, stage presence from young on?
So I would say I've always been a normal kid. I have always been a performer though. So even though I didn't start doing pageants until I was 18, um, I started figure skating when I was 4.
Oh my
So
goodness.
yes, and so from then on out, I would say it was a little bit abnormal, but it was so special. And then I figure skated for 8 years competitively until I had to quit, because I had to have ankle surgery. My bones were growing together in my ankles. I
Oh my
know,
goodness.
and they had to, remove them, separate them, and that forced me to stop skating. And through that, I said, "Well, I need to find something to do." My parents were like, "Grieve it, but we don't need to sit in the grief. So let's go find a new activity." I don't even know what I tried. I tried so many things, but I blocked them all out of my mind. But I eventually landed on acting.
Uh-huh.
Um, and that led me to my very first production of Flat Stanley Jr. the musical, where I played a boy. And that set
Stop
the scene.
it.
No, that set the scene for the next like 6 years of my life until I got to 6 years. However long until I got to high school. I was 11. And I was pretty much playing boys all throughout middle school, unfortunately. So I was humbled a lot.
But you
So
have like you have like Disney princess eyes. How in the world did they just put like a baseball cap on you?
I wore a wig actually.
Okay.
So I'm 5'9". That's part of the reason why that happened.
Oh, gotcha.
Taller than the boys, and there's a lack of boys in class. Even in the Nutcracker, I was a boy in the Nutcracker one time.
Were you
Um,
Fritz or like my daughter was just in the Nutcracker?
I was in the party scene at the very beginning.
I love that. Oh my gosh.
I look just like my brothers. They just put a brown wig on
Yeah, of
me.
course.
And the same thing for Flat Stanley Jr. the musical. I played a boy in that one, the little brother. I had a brown wig, I had giant glasses and a Darth Vader shirt with my
Stop.
brother's shorts, cargo shorts.
And the irony is you're a beauty queen.
Yeah, I think that's where I get my humor from is the stark difference between the two.
I love that.
Yeah, and then I got my degree in acting, with minors in directing and stage management. And in the middle of the pandemic, I ended up creating a social media platform, on TikTok for a school project. And that led me to where I am today. I never intended to actually be on social media to the extent that I am.
Oh my goodness. So what is a typical day in the life because you're a baby. Are you like 25? 20?
Nailed it.
20? Yeah. Okay,
25.
so
Yeah.
you have accomplished more than most people accomplish in their lifetime and you're just starting life,
Oh,
right?
that's so sweet of you. I feel like I have imposter syndrome all the time and think, like everyone else, when you view social media, you go, "Oh, I'm not doing enough." So thank you.
Yeah, no, it's true. And tell me, like, how do you show up every day? Because for me, I'm in a whole different generation, right? My kids are closer to your age than I am. So for me, it's like I'm doing the mom thing and then I'm juggling that and single motherhood and then podcasting and then trying to
Mhm.
get projects going with acting. But how do you show up and be creative and put content up like daily and actually because you're very funny. Like
Thank
you're
you.
very silly and you're lighthearted and which I love. Like you love, we love to make fun of ourselves, right? How do you because there's no formula to this whole social media success and even what you're doing with the like you have a lot on your plate for as young as you are. So how do you not wake up overwhelmed? And do you have a like a routine that you do or like specific content days or take me, to your little world in Elizabeth's world?
I really wish that I could say that I was as organized as other content creators that I know, but I literally will make them in the moment. And if I don't post it immediately, it doesn't get posted. I am so spur of the moment. But I would say the way that I'm able to operate all the different things that I am kind of goes back to how I grew up. I've never been a non-busy person before. So, like, even at, growing up at, like, 6 years old when I was skating and I finally started to get into it more and started competing, I would be at the ice rink before school every single day
So
for,
like
like,
6
an hour.
a.m.
Yeah, 6 AM. And then I would which is what I'm doing now with my students, so I'm back to my roots apparently. But then I would go back to the ice rink after school and spend another hour, hour and a half, 2 hours there. So I feel like it's just kind of ingrained in me. And if I'm not busy, then I'm going to find something to fill that time.
So you're very disciplined.
I am very disciplined. I know that, like, I like to have hobbies and I like to do the things I like to do. And so whatever it is, I make it happen. But a typical day for me looks like waking up at 5:30, which is what I did this morning. Coaching early in the morning, then training myself for figure skating. Various appointments sometimes happen late morning, but depending on what I'm doing, I'm either or what day it is, because I have busy days and light days. I either have like voice lessons, or I am going back to coaching later in the afternoon, or making content in between. Most of the time, I'm making content on the go. So it's just like as it happens, I'm going, as I'm going, I make it happen. And then as I'm on the way to something, if someone is driving me, I'm sitting there editing music for my students for figure skating, just using whatever free time I have so that when things do come up that are unexpected, I can still enjoy life and spend time with my friends and stuff.
So you coach ice skating or you coach pageant girls?
Ice skating.
You coach ice skating.
Yes.
And I just saw some of your performance on social media. So you're still ice skating despite your ankle surgery.
Yeah, so I took 11 years off. I decided to, in college, actually return to learn to skate as a coach, just for fun, for volunteering. And eventually I went to my coach that raised me and was like, hey, what if I took some lessons just for fun? And then 5 minutes in, she said, hey, why don't you go to adult nationals this year? I think that'd be super cool, be fun. And I said, okay, I'm all in. 2 years later, here I am. I'm a triple gold medalist in US figure skating.
And I forgot to add that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And a US figure skating coach. So I'm actively competing and coaching at the same time.
Hold on. You're a triple gold medalist?
Yes.
Where did I miss this? What year did this happen?
This is in the last 2 years. I've only been back to training myself for 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
11 years off and I'm back.
So, oh my gosh, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So you have that world, skating world and pageant world, and
social media.
And social media. Okay.
And acting every once in a while.
And acting. So that's your day, right? But what does the future look like, and what is your dream to ultimately? I mean, you've accomplished dreams that 99% of the world can't even touch or accomplish, right? Like, I'm in awe of your humility, because you just skated by, literally, no pun intended, skated by the fact that you're a triple gold medalist and Miss Oklahoma City.
Yes.
So if you've accomplished all that, like, what's in your future, and where do you feel like God has gifted you in? Because obviously you are excellent in everything you do. You excel in everything you do. So, yeah.
Before I returned to skating, I would always say that, my dream is to be an actor, and my dream that's still one of them. But as a result of starting social media, literally for a school project, and becoming successful with that, and then returning back to figure skating and having so many doors open to me, I don't really have one specific dream. I am kind of just following what's working, and I know that if there's a door that I'm supposed to go down, that God's going to open it, and if not, he's going to slam it in my face. And so that's kind of how I'm operating now. I'm also I'll operate on the sense of, I want all of the options, and I'm going to make them happen.
Amen.
If I were to give you like a big pipe dream that people could call me crazy for, but I want it to happen.
Yeah, speak it.
I really want to go to the Olympics. actually, as a figure skater, and make history as which sounds kind of wild because I wouldn't be that old, but make history as the oldest woman to compete in singles internationally. So the
Wow.
oldest woman right now that competed on the Olympic scale is 26, and I would be 30 by the time then or no, I'd be yeah, I'd
20
be 30, 28,
when
something like
is it
that.
2028? Are the Olympics in 20
Yes, I'd be
that's
22,
in
I'd be 28, or 32, depending on which one I would get to go to, but it's not impossible as we, like, look at the trajectory of athletes nowadays, and
absolutely. Look at Tom Brady.
yeah, exactly. So and, Simone Biles. So,
Yes.
I don't think it's completely impossible, and there's no age cap.
Yep.
So, I'm you know, that's one of my goals.
I love that. So take me back to a season in your life where you have either felt far from God or you've kind of been like, I call it the wilderness seasons. I feel like I'm just coming out of a wilderness season with my son. He's had to do online school. He had
Mhm.
excruciating health challenges in the last year, and so it's been a whole new level of faith for me as a mama, right? Like
Mhm.
and so do you recall a moment in your journey, you're still so young, but where you've kind of felt like you didn't hear from God, or you were like, "You know what, Lord, I'm gonna do my own thing." Um, or a setback, something like, for instance, your ankle injury, like something that really was an unbearable season that you were like, "I don't know what's next."
I feel like I go through those all the time.
I know, right?
Um, but, like, with my ankle surgery and everything, I hit a point where I was like, "I don't know what to do." I wanted to go to the Olympics, and that was gonna be, my whole life.
That's your plan.
Yeah, that was my plan, and granted, I was, like, 11 when I had to quit, but the great thing that my parents had taught me and that, like, really got instilled in me, was the fact that whatever plan God has for me is gonna happen. If I had to leave this for now, that doesn't mean I can't come back later, and that it's important not to mourn where you're at right now because God has something so much better for you later. And so I've kind of
Mm.
really lived my life that way. I think that's how I've been able to accomplish all of the things that I have and be so positive throughout it. Not to say that there hasn't been any hardships. I've had so many health problems over the years that never end up getting online. So
Talk
um
to me about that because
yeah.
I'm very passionate about chronic illness because my son has walked through it. I had Lyme disease and
Mhm.
I mean the laundry list of chronic illness. So talk to me about because we see the commercials of all of our, highlight reels on social
Mhm.
media,
Oh
but
yeah.
a lot of times we don't see the pain and the dark seasons. And I really love to share the good, the bad, and the beautiful
Mhm.
because I believe God wants us to share our stories of overcoming. So
Yeah.
do you mind sharing or is it
Yeah,
personal?
yeah. No, so I have a sleep disorder. I was, diagnosed in 2021 with it, but it's something I've been dealing with since I was, in high school.
Wow.
I sleep too much, and I was falling asleep, during choir, standing up. It was not in high school, it was not necessarily a great thing. They have learned through, over the years, on accident, I don't remember how they found it out, but I remember as a complete accident that there's a gene in the spine that's rare, that when you mix it with general anesthesia, not everyone has it, the energy level goes down, and you can never get it back. Um, yeah.
Oh my gosh. So
I've
it
had
happened when
over
you had ankle surgery.
I've had over 20 rounds of general anesthesia in my lifetime, for various things. I've had 13 surgeries, um, ankles, hips, gallbladder, appendix,
Yep, yep.
stereotypical. I broke my nose once after having sinus surgery, so then I had to have more anesthesia.
You
So
poor
I've had a
thing.
lot, and, you know, there were definitely times when I didn't lose faith in God. I feel like that's one of the gifts that
Mm.
I have is that I always know that God's there, but I struggled to see God's plan for why that was happening.
Yep.
And I still don't see a plan in it. But I've come more so to the fact that my life is a testimony of God's goodness, that I've been able to receive treatment from the only doctor that studies it in America. And that my life is still going on, that it's not over, and that while it's not treatable or not fixable, it is treatable. And that's a blessing in itself. So, yeah.
That's
I hope that makes sense.
crazy. So it's a gene in your spine when mixed with anesthesia
Mhm.
that you never so are you constantly fatigued?
Yes. And no
So
one
you're
would ever know that because I'm so energized on the internet.
so what do you have to take supplements, medication? Like what does
Yeah,
that entail?
I take a series of different medications that they found works for this sleep disorder, that when you pull it all together. Oh, my Siri thing. Oh, I said Siri. Siri started going
I
off.
didn't get that. Could you try again?
Could you hear that?
It's I love it. We're unfiltered. No
Um,
worries.
but I take a series of medicines, so when you put it all together, it like separates the gene in the spine and is able to help get the rest of the medicine through it. One of them is the thing that they give you to wake you up from anesthesia. It's like a cream that you put on your wrist, and it wouldn't work for anyone else unless they had the exact sleep disorder that I had. It's definitely a blessing, but it's not easy. Like the other day, I ran out of my medicine and I was like starting to tweak because we didn't get it in time. So I was like rationing my medicine until I could get it again. I was like, oh, it's definitely hard. It's not easy to
So
do
what
it.
is the actual disorder? What is the name of the disorder?
Idiopathic hypersomnia. It means we don't know why you sleep so much, except now we do.
But that's what makes that's what makes people fall in love with you more, Elizabeth, is because look at what you've accomplished despite
Mhm.
the shortcomings that somehow you have endured, because that is not easy to
No.
and I can only imagine, because I still deal with chronic
Mhm.
fatigue aside from, I'm like, I would say I'm probably 75% strong and healthy, but like I'm also mid 40s and
Mhm.
single mom, and I feel like I'm tired all the time, which is why I have this. But I
Mhm.
can only imagine your schedule, and somehow you have the grit to be able to know, like, because you could be a victim and you have every excuse in the book to be like, I'm going to just do this. I
Mhm.
don't need to there's so many things, because being uncomfortable, to be able to train, to coach, to pageant, like that's a whole level of discomfort that most people aren't willing to sacrifice.
Yeah.
So I commend you for like pushing down the walls,
Mhm.
and that's only by the grace of God.
I think that the other part too is I know that God put the dreams that I have in me for a reason, and regardless of how I'm feeling, I'm gonna follow through with them. Like there was one
Mm,
time my medicine was on back order
I have
stuck
chills.
in Canada for like over a week, and I had no access to it. I didn't even tell my coach that I had that, and I went and took a figure skating test, a hard one too, without any medicine for like 4 days. And then
Stop.
afterwards I go, "Hey, by the way, I haven't taken anything in 4 days." And she was like, but I said, "I'm not gonna stop just because, you know, things might be going bad for a second. I'm gonna sleep as much as I can before and then just go."
Now, do you notice, like, I can only imagine like crawling home and crawling in bed, like, oh my gosh, I just need to sleep.
I did it today.
You did it. So, do you notice, like, in terms of hydration, nutrition? Because there's no doubt, like, sometimes I sleep 5 hours and I can function better on 5 hours, and then when I sleep 8 hours, I'm more tired. So, like, but for me, it's like I know if my movements, like, if I don't move enough, I'm exhausted. If I don't eat enough, like I was vegan a few years ago, and that was like the worst thing for me, right? Enough protein. Like,
Mhm.
do you have to have like impeccable nutrition and hydration?
I wish I could say yes.
Or do you find, because I find like sometimes it doesn't even matter. Like I can have a perfect diet. I'm just as exhausted
Mhm.
as whatever it is that I'm eating, or
Yeah.
there's no, listen, there's no perfect, everybody heals differently, right? And we have to listen to our own body. But do you find that you function better one way or the other, or no? It's
Um,
just
it's really funny. When I was in college, I was surrounded by all of my acting major friends, and one of my friends looked at me at like 11 at night as I was eating something, and she goes, "Elizabeth, I did a character study on you. That's something you never want to hear in acting school." And she goes, "I've noticed that when you get really tired and you're trying to stay awake so that you can engage with everyone, that you just start eating everything you can." And I was
Mhm.
like, I don't know if that's a character study, but okay. So that's typically how I cope. Otherwise, there's really not anything specific that I can do that'll make it better or worse besides just taking my medicine or not taking it.
Yeah. No, it's true. Like when you're on set and you're shooting 16-hour days,
Yeah.
it's like if you to stay awake, which is why craft service is filled with
Yeah.
so much sugar and snacks,
Mhm.
is
Mhm.
because your body is craving glucose to actually keep your eyes open.
I I worked on so many a couple of different films in Oklahoma behind the scenes. I've also done a lot of film production. I lived
Uh-huh.
like 5,000 different lives. But I would always stop by Crafty throughout the
Yep.
day to keep myself awake because I was like, we're doing a night shoot tonight. Time to go get a grilled cheese.
For sure. Yeah, you got to keep the engine running.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you for sharing that. That's really vulnerable, and I appreciate that because I think not enough people feel like, oh, Elizabeth, look at this perfect world that
Oh,
she
yeah.
lives in, right? And they think, "Oh, she's got a perfect life. She feels amazing. She looks amazing. She's gorgeous. She's young. She's
Yeah.
accomplished." When that's really the reality of not most of our stories. Like
Oh,
we're
no.
all suffering with something.
If I really were to post um more not more accurately, because I would say everything I put online is very authentic, but if I were to post the, harder parts of my days, which are not, Instagram perfect or
They're
pretty
not pretty,
at all,
right?
and no one would want to watch that, first off, then people would be very surprised by the overall view of my life. People would get, like, a very
Mm,
brief snapshot into what I choose to show them. Not that I'm not choosing to show them the hardships as well,
right.
but they don't make for good social media. And they're not what I choose to focus on either. So sometimes,
Yes.
like, when I start to talk about it, I go, "Oh, yeah, this really is something that I deal with every single day of my life," but it's so second nature that I kinda just forget about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I find too, the more we focus on what's going wrong, I feel like the bigger the problem gets, right?
Absolutely.
So
Mhm.
it's I have to really fight, and I try to teach my son that as well as he's walking out of this massive illness the last year. I'm like,
Mhm.
listen, your tongue, it's God, when God says in his word, like life and death are in the power of our tongue, like it's the truth. Like because we all have really hard, really negative, like we could get into that mindset, but not to negate it, but we have to constantly like choose to speak
Absolutely.
life despite how bad we feel, and not to live in denial, but I feel like there's a constant war in our thoughts and in what
Yes.
we say.
Yes. I there was a scene that I really loved from The Chosen that was so impactful for me, and I don't remember the exact reason or, like, what they exactly said, but I remember sitting in the theater going, "I've never heard anything described like that." It was, with Jesus and Little John, and I don't know if you've seen The Chosen, but, Little John in the series, he has, a disability, and he struggles to walk, and he uses, a walking stick the entire time, because of something that he was born with.
Mhm.
And it's during the time when Jesus is going around starting to heal people, and little John goes to Jesus and he's like, "Why can I not be healed? Like, what is the point of this?" And I remember sitting in the theater going, "Oh gosh, I feel like this is about to speak to me." But Jesus says something along the lines of, "I could heal you, but what you're going to do for the kingdom of God with your disability is so much greater
Mm.
than what you could do without it. And granted, we know that Jesus never actually said that. But from a human standpoint, and trying to reconcile with all of the things that
Yeah.
we deal with on a regular basis and all the hardships, that made more sense to me than anything else anyone else has ever tried to explain. And it really got me. I was like, I've never cried at a movie or anything like that before. And now I'm like waterworks all the time.
He does. He does use our all of our setbacks and all of our limitations.
Mhm.
And he really does. And I just am oh, go ahead. You're gonna say something.
Oh, I was gonna say it's really cool actually. No, not cool for them as much, but cool from a me perspective. I've gotten to talk to a lot of my athletes about the different hardships I've gone through
Hmm.
because they've started to go through similar things that I did. Like one of them, God bless her, she's about to have hip surgery, and I found that out recently, like almost the exact same one that I had. But had she not been my student, I don't think she would have gotten to the doctor as fast as she did, and I think she'll make a faster recovery because of it. Another student was able she had a similar I always forget about this. I had an eye issue growing up. I had to go through eye therapy to learn how to refocus my eyes, and
Whoa.
I had a student that just turned 8, and she was having all of these problems, and the first time I saw her without her glasses, her eyes were not focused, and I was like, "We need you need to go to my doctor." And so it's like all of the things that I dealt with growing up, I'm getting
God's giving it back to you
yeah, I'm getting
to
I'm getting
help.
to help them and make their lives better faster because those were things that we struggled to find, who to go to and what exactly to do, and I'm getting to be that support system for all of these kids that I'm coaching.
Oh my gosh. You're such a gift to so many kids. That's not easy. My son broke his patella going up for a layup and because he
Yeah.
grew too fast. He's a tall white boy.
Mhm.
So take care of him in a wheelchair with a cast all the way up to his hip and to basically grieve his basketball career and
You
with multiple health issues. And so he's going through a crisis and identity. He goes, Mom, all I've known was club basketball since I was 4. And so he had to quit basketball from this last ailment, right? And so I said, you know what? Your comeback is going to be greater than any setback. And I know you don't see it. And I know for all the people out there that
Mhm.
may be going through something as well, like God will use every single thing in your life that you feel like your life is over, or he will use it. He will use it for your good and to bless others like he's doing in your life.
Yes, I heard someone speak recently at Miss America. They do this brunch with all of the formers, and normally they'll bring in a former Miss America to speak and give inspirational messages. And this year they brought in a first runner up, and
Mm.
that was such a cool moment to get to listen to her speak because she said, I thought I was gonna be Miss America. I was standing there ready to accept my new life and ready to get on the road with all of these things that I thought I was gonna get to do, all the
Right.
blessings, and then they called me as first runner up. And she goes, "And the hardest part of my life turned into the best part of my life because it
Mm.
opened up all these doors that she wouldn't have had the opportunity to do, before." Like, she became a professional pianist, but even more and playing with all the big, like, I don't even know the phrases that she used, but like all the big houses or whatever, orchestras, and then turned that into a different career and was also advocating for what she was advocating for in Miss America, and making a big difference in that. And that was regarding, warning signs for suicide. And
Mm.
it was she made a bigger impact as the first runner up,
Yep.
not having been Miss America. And so that's kind of what I've been trying to think of recently is like the hardest parts of your life God uses to open up doors. He said, "Nope, stop sign, go the other way."
I love your faith because you're like, these are my dreams to go to the Olympics,
Mhm.
to be Miss Oklahoma, Miss USA. I don't even know how it goes. Miss USA,
Miss
Miss
America.
America,
Yeah.
Miss Universe.
Well, it's local title, state title, Miss America. Universe and USA are a different system.
Okay, got you. Got you. So, and I love that because, so like myself, I've never achieved the caliber of things that you have, but really God will use an ordinary person that is mediocre that I felt like in childhood, in sports and academics. And really, he uses it all for our good because he gives us a great amount of empathy and compassion to be able to help others when they feel like they aren't worthy of anything, of any of their dreams. So I'm so darn proud of you, like a little
Thank you so
sister,
much.
like of everything you've accomplished. And the fact is that you're not idolizing these titles, that you're believing for the best, but you're also like, God, I'm here, I'm yours, and I'm in your plan. And that's all that matters.
Exactly. And it doesn't make it less hard in the moment, but eventually when I come out of it, after like grieving whatever it was, or being like moving on from whatever it was, then I'm like, okay, I can see how God used that. And so in the moment, I try to remind myself, like, it's going to be okay. It's not the end of the world. This is probably the first step to something really amazing, even though I'm really sad.
Yes.
So,
Oh my gosh, I adore you.
oh,
Thank you so much. So tell me what you're doing, like what's next and where can everybody find you?
So next for me, I would say coming up, I have my US figure skating competitions, Miss Oklahoma in June. And you can find me on TikTok as long as we have it.
Right?
Gibson.
January 19th? Is it supposed to end?
I'm like, you know what, God, whatever happens, happens. But like, just do some intercessions. Come on. No, I'm kidding. But as long as we have it, on TikTok, I'm ep24 and then on Instagram, it's Elizabeth_Gibson.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Well, best of luck, but there's no luck. There's only favor. So favor to your next
Oh,
journey and to all of your dreams and goals and desires and just keep being you. Like I love watching you and you skate and all the things. Now I even like I'm more in awe of like your injuries and just
thank you so much.
doing everything despite that. So thank you for your time, Elizabeth.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
So fun.